my next speaker, Kim Beckham, is for those of you guys that don't know who this is. So I have known Kim since I was 11. So an undisclosed number of years ago. So well, actually, it was 36 years ago. So there you go. I'm 47.
Wow.
So yeah, so I've known him for 36 years, and he was the pastor of the church that I grew up in. And over the years, like since I've become an adult and started several businesses and done insurance and all this stuff, I've called on Brother Beckham multiple times in my professional career just to sound out an idea or get some advice or some perspective, and mostly I intended from a spiritual angle, like, hey, but he would always come back and actually like kind of give me like really solid business advice. It's kind of funny. It's like, from a personal perspective, like, hey, how are you showing up in this situation? How can you show up in this situation? And earlier this year, several years ago, he started writing a book and started speaking and doing some extra church things. And then earlier this year, he announced his retirement and he started his own coaching company and leadership development company. And he and I were just talking about what he was doing. We were celebrating it. And I pitched him on the idea of putting a program together, a leadership program for, okay, I see Dave just got on here, made himself host. That's cool, Dave. If you leave, just leave. Don't end the meeting.
Bye, everybody.
Or just mute yourself and walk away. Walk away from your keyboard. Anyway, so we put together Brother Beckham put together a course for 6 of my team leaders. It was a $1,400 course on leadership, and got several really solid reviews from it. After that course was over, I said, what would be really awesome is if you could put together a mindset course and just a performance course, right? For showing up and winning, right? And so he put together a course that is a month-to-month course, and I'm going to have him talk about basically like who he is and what he's about. And I'm going to give you guys a link later if you guys want to sign up for this course. There's only going to be 10 spots on it, first of all. So if you want it, hop on it. But it's not going to be for everybody. But for those of you that it is for, like, you're going to love what he has to say. And just know that, like, I vouch for Kim 100% in terms of his heart and his knowledge and his stand for seeing you become a better person. So with that, Kim, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Eric. Can you hear me clearly?
You're good.
All right, good. Well, it's a joy to get to talk to everyone today. I appreciate this time to talk. I am a big fan of Eric's, and I've known him since he was a very young man, and he is a stellar individual and does great work. Well, I am excited to get to talk to you today. When I started thinking about a post-pastoral career, I wanted some way to continue to invest in people and make a difference in people's lives. And I've always been fascinated by the self-help world and how do people get better? Why are some people successful and some people are not? Why do some people achieve great things and other people don't? So I've studied it all my life. I've read everything from Napoleon Hill to Brian Tracy to Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins, to just about anybody you can think of. And I've tried to glean from that and some ideas that would work. And I started about 5 years ago coaching individuals. I've now coached over 35 different individuals, where they're bank executives, a lot of realtors, some doctors, lawyers, different people in the sales industry. And then started a training class. I just came from one of my training classes. I have 30 people who meet with me monthly in training classes where I train them about the skills of leadership and how to be more effective. And it is so satisfying to see somebody take one of these courses and just expand their world. And what I've determined is what you probably already know. Our success in life has a lot less to do with what's happening outside of us than it does with what's happening inside of us. I really appreciated the comments earlier about the confidence issue and whether or not we're projecting confidence. Well, whether or not we're projecting confidence has everything to do with how we feel about what we're doing and who we are. And that's an inner game. So if we can remove those internal constraints that are holding us back from success, there literally is no limit to what we can accomplish. Had a young lady take my first course, and she was a realtor, and she had set a goal. She was just getting started in real estate, And she said, if I have a certain goal, I'm going to get LASIX. And she said, I'm going to double what I did last year, which was a pretty good goal, would have been about $50,000. And so I taught her about visualization, and I taught her about how to build a dream board, and I taught her about how to do affirmations and all the stuff you need to do with goal setting. She went home and designed a little room, created this thing. She came back to tell me 2 months later, she had already hit that goal. She had already made her yearly goal in 3 months. So she doubled her yearly goal. And by the end of the course, she had hit that goal too. And so she is so excited. She's one of my greatest cheerleaders and things we can do. But I have a couple of thoughts for you real quick. I just wanted to give you something to take with you today about whether or not you have someone who's speaking into you. You know, I have 4 different people speak into me all the time. I have a friend who is, I meet with him weekly because he's the guy who tells me the truth. And every week we've made an agreement. We can speak truth into each other's life. He's the guy that can call me on my BS or anything else I'm doing. He has that permission. And so I have that guy. And then I have a friend who's in the speaking business, in the training business. And he's one who makes me think at a higher level. And that's what I always tell him. His name is Step. Every time I leave him, I say, Step, I always leave you thinking at a higher level than the time we had before. And then I have another friend who's also in the training business, and he just encourages me. I can learn from him and something new that he's doing and whatever. And so I was wondering, who's doing that for you? Who in your life is speaking into your life? You know, one of my clients who takes my classes, you know, she's a highly successful. She works for a lawyer in elderly care, but now she started her own hospice business. And she said, this is what I do for me. I do this for me every month. The money that I invest in this course is because it's like a cheerleading time for me. It's like accountability time for me. It's like an encouragement time for me. She said, it's an investment in me. And I want to ask you, who's speaking into your life? Who tells you the truth? Who makes you think at a higher level? Who encourages you about what new things they're doing? I know you get some of that from Eric and others, but I'd like to assist you in that as well. And so here's the idea. I want to give you 5 things. This is what I tell you. You probably know some of them. 5 major traps to avoid if you want to succeed in life. If I only had time to talk to your group for minutes, this is what I tell you. Number 1 trap, accepting that you're stuck in mediocrity. We just accept the limit. We decide that's what we can do. We can't do anymore. I teach a lesson on limiting beliefs, and it's so very powerful. Eric talked about the church that I pastored. It's a large church, 30 acres of property. First time I drove up on that property, I almost ruined myself because I said in my heart, I can't do this. It's too big. And I started to walk away. But luckily, I received some encouragement from the Lord and also with some thought that said, you can do this. And 35 years later, it changed my life. I've been able to do incredible things, but I almost limited myself because I accepted the lie that I'm stuck in mediocrity. What's the lie you're accepting? Number 2, believing that yesterday's learning will keep you successful in tomorrow's market. What got you here won't get you there. You got to keep changing. You got to keep learning. Number 3, thinking that it's easier and simpler if you do it yourself, especially those that are building teams. You know, it is, here's the lie, here's the half truth. It is easier and simpler to do it yourself the first time and the second time. But if you stay with it and you keep delegating and you keep training, eventually you don't have to do the task at all. And then your growth multiplies. So it is a lie to believe that it's easier and simpler to do it yourself. 4th lie, believing that outside circumstances dictate your level of success. They just don't. I'm reading a book right now. If you haven't picked up the book, Boys in the Boat, you ought to get it. It's a great story about the Olympic rowing team that went to Nazi Germany and won the Olympics there from the state of Washington. But it's all about teamwork. But it's also about people who went through the Great Depression and made a success in one of the most horrific economic times in American history. And if they can do that, what can we do? And the 4th thing is, or the 5th lie, is when you are trapped, is when you enjoy being the most knowledgeable or financially successful person in the room. You should never want to be the most successful person in the room, because if you are the most successful in the person in the room, you can't learn anything. You need to be around people who challenge you. I remember reading about a young man who had a summer job opportunity. One, he was going to work in a grocery store, make good money, get ready for college. But there was also an opportunity to work at the golf course and be a caddy back in the days when they had individual caddies. He chose that because he knew that he would be carrying the bags for men and women that were more successful than he was and more successful than his parents were. And he knew just hanging out with them carrying their bag, he would learn things. He was right. He accomplished a lot, learned a lot, went on to college, successful CEO today. Listen, don't be the most successful person in the room. So those are 5 traps you need to avoid. And then one last thought, I'll give you this and I'll turn it back to Eric, and you can ask me questions if you want. Why do you need a coach? I'll tell you my Scout story. Scout's my crazy dog. I have a psycho dog. Anybody have a dog out there? I have a psycho dog. This dog is really insane. And she's cute, but she just strange. Well, one place we found we could take her in bad weather to walk her was Lowe's grocery store. So, Lowe's big convenience store, lumber store, construction store, because it's big, concrete floors. You can walk around. They'll let you take your dog in. So we take her the dog. We're feeling pretty good. We go to Lowe's. And we've got our plan. We're going to walk around Lowe's. We're going to pick up a few things. We'll be great. And right as we get in there, everybody's positive. Everybody's upbeat. And the dog decides that that's a perfect place to relieve herself. And she makes a big, huge mess right in the floor in Lowe's. And it's not just a nice, clean, neat mess. It is projectile diarrhea right there in Lowe's. We're trying to clean it up. We've got nothing to clean up with. People are gathering around it, pointing, laughing. My wife, who Eric knows, she hates being the public spectacle. She is just dying. We're trying to get the dog. Where do you clean a dog up like that? You can't even pick her up. We're trying to get her in the bathroom. We're trying to do all this sort of stuff. And then finally we get her, then we get her out of the store. We take her home. But here's my point. Life is like going to Lowe's with Scout. Everybody has a plan. Everybody's going, this is what they're going to do in life. Everyone is positive, and then the poop happens. And then sometimes it happens in a major way when you're not expecting it. And then a mess is made. The team gets discouraged. What are we going to do now? And the day is ruined. But goals and a coach help bring it back into perspective. They bring you back around and they say, look, let's talk about that. Yeah, that was bad, but here's a new idea. Here's a better idea. Here's something else we can do to move forward. So I don't know what you got in your life. I don't know what you're facing, but I can tell you who in your life is speaking truth, who in your life is making you think higher than you normally do, and who can you learn from. I'd like to be one of those people in your life, making you a great opportunity for just $2.99 a month. I'll teach you a informational lesson. The first one's on attitude, how to change your attitude, how to move forward. I'll give you encouragement on books to read, podcasts to listen to. And then I'm going to offer you 2 30-minute coaching sessions where you can call me and we will provide strategic planning and personal accountability. Call me twice a month and I guarantee you, you'll move forward in your career. You need to grab this opportunity. I'd love to work with you. Let me know if he can help you. He's going to send you my contact link. The first 10 that let me know, get in. We're going to try to start early. Really, I'd like to start before the month is out. It's got a date in there in August. I think August 24th is what we're talking about. And be on Zoom. You'll also get the archive. You'll get the tape of the session that you can keep and you can review anytime you want to. By the time we're done in a year, you'll have 12 great lessons that you can use and reaffirm what you're thinking, keep it going strong. So that's what we're going to do. Love to have you be a part. Be glad to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Yeah, appreciate it, Brother Beckham. So just if any of you guys have a question you want to ask, just drop a 1 in the chat box and I'll call on you. But one thing I would just point out is, I've had coaches that I've hired that have been well in excess of $1,000 a month. And just earlier this year, in fact, I don't know, some of you guys may have seen, we had those Southwestern Professional Services came on and did a pitch for personal coaching. And their program was a 1-year contract, $600 a month, right? And so the fact that, who knows what kind of coach you get. I mean, hopefully they're good, they're credentialed or something. But, Brother Beckham, Kim, I've known him for 35 years. He's he 100% knows how to speak truth to you and get you operating at a higher level. Number one. Number two, it's not just monthly coaching, it's monthly coaching plus a 12-week curriculum that goes along with it that, he and I have gone over, that will absolutely benefit anybody and everybody. And it's less than half the price of what, the, previous coaches that I thought did a great job. Todd Hausberger used them last year and hit Hall of Fame. So, that they're good, right? It's just I know Brother Beckham's better, and I know his price point is a lot easier for most of our agents to wrap their arms around. So I appreciate you, Brother Beckham, collaborating with me on the content and also working with me on the price point to make that available for everybody, because that's a big deal, and I appreciate you. I didn't see any ones pop in the chat box, but I put up your landing page. So if you guys want to grab that, hamadi.com/Ken Beckham. You guys can hit that up and hit the link in there. When it's full, it's full. So that's what he told me. He's like, hey, listen, I want to be available for everybody, but I mean, I can't do more than 10. And so that's not an artificial number. That's the amount of bandwidth he's got. So I appreciate you being on, Brother Beckham. I'd say one question that I would have that. Since nobody's asking one, is, a lot of times, I think what's held me personally back from getting a coach in the past, before I hired my first coach, was this kind of deep down knowing that I kind of already probably know what to do. I just need to get serious, and tomorrow I'm going to do that. I'm just going to get serious. And I'm gonna get out. I already know that, dude. I've sat in these meetings. He's not. What's he gonna tell me that I don't already know, right? So then if I get one-on-one with this person, like, I don't. It's almost like going to the dentist when you haven't brushed your teeth. You haven't been in 3 years, and you just know and they're gonna judge me. They're gonna look at my mouth and judge me. You know what I mean? So I mean, what would you say to that?
I think that very universal. I think it's universal thinking about coaching. I certainly felt the same thing. But I would say the answer to the first part of the question is, yeah, there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, there may be some technology that you can gain and do, but the things I'm teaching are not unheard of and unknown. But it's just like, and some of you are, this is not a preaching time, and the coaching is not necessarily religious, but I am a man of faith. And I say about this is, my Christianity is like my nutrition, and that is, I know a lot more than I practice. I know a lot of stuff, but that's not the issue. I just talked to a friend of mine right now. His name is Kurt. I'm actually working with a fitness coach, and we're working in the driveway of some people's house. We're sharing this coach, and he drove by and saw me. So he sent me an email. And he said, I think I saw you out in the driveway working out. And I said, yeah, we're doing this. And I'm doing this guy, we're sharing this coach. And he said, well, my problem is I go to the gym. He said, but my problem is the eating issue is not the deal. I said, that's the point. I've been involved in fitness all my life, but the fact of the matter is I do better when I have a coach. Yeah, he's not telling me anything I don't already know. I know that if I do more exercise and I eat less food, I'm going to lose weight. But here's the thing about a coach, fitness and otherwise. You only make one decision when you have a coach. You make a decision to hire the coach, and you show up. Hey, he tells you everything else to do in a fitness coach. And what I'm doing, part of it is personal accountability. When you meet with me on that one-on-one coaching, we're going to say, okay, where do you want to go and where are you? And as Ben pointed out a while, I think you were talking about 100 contacts a week or something like that. So you set a goal. You say, okay, I want to have 100. All right, we agree you're going to have 100. What are you going to have to do to get to that 100? Well, I'm going to have to make this many phone calls to get to that 100. All right, then when I talk to you in 2 weeks, you will answer and tell me how many of those contacts you made. And even the most highly motivated people do better when they're held personally accountable. I've had doctors and lawyers and corporate executives who make good money. They know how to succeed, but they do better when somebody holds them accountable, and you will do better too. And the other thing is, it's not a judgment zone. I'm kind of like the Planet Fitness of coaching. Compassion is one of my major strong points. I know how hard it is to be in sales. I know how difficult it is to take on the challenge of life change. I'm not going to beat you up. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to try to help you. I'm going to make you see how you can do something, not why you should feel bad because you didn't do it.
I appreciate you being on. So thanks. You're welcome to hang out and hear the rest of this. But if you got somewhere else to be, I totally understand that. But I really appreciate you and your time, and thank you for pouring into my life over the years. And I hope some of these guys get the chance to work with you.
Well, I loved working with the 6 people we worked with last time. And so we know something about what you're doing. I would love to work with all of you if I could, and as many as I can. But whether I get to work with you or not, I wish you the greatest success. And it is the hardest job in the world to do what you're doing, which is straight on sales, but it's also the most rewarding because you're changing people's lives. So keep up the good work. Proud to have talked to you today, Eric. I'll get off the phone so y'all can do your thing, and God bless all of you. Have a great week.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right.